Good morning, all. Thank you very much again for joining the forum. And hopefully we are starting a good day today, the second day of summer. As usual, we have some quick updates from different parts of the office campus, our office of research, as well as accounting. And then again, I'm going to remind you, this is your time to ask questions, and all of us can work on trying to come up with answers to what we have to be doing to serve the campus community. Regarding updates from our office, we do have a lot of vacancies. We have vacancies in both award side and the proposal side. So things are, they cannot go forward as fast as they used to. In some, like 7 or 8 people out of the 40 people members of sponsored programs, those are the vacancies we have. On proposal side, we are close to filling some positions, but still, we are low. On the award side, later Grace would give you a little bit more updates, but on the award side, we are down 3 awards people. So please expect things to go become slower in processing awards, especially. On the proposal side, we need your help to make sure that we get the proposals in time so we can meet the deadlines. Unfortunately, with the amount of vacancy we have, I am really worried about missing deadlines, and that has happened in the past. So help us not to end up in those areas. So with that, we are going to start with, you remember that in several of the meetings, we have talked about the NSF updated policies and procedures, that they are requiring certain things in current and pending and biological sketches. We have talked about that in the last couple of forums, at least. You have seen the emails. There are some other updates related to that. Last week, some more information came out, and we have Director of Office of Research Compliance, Craig Allison. He's going to share with us some information regarding that specific area from NSF, and maybe at some other updates he wants to give us. Craig?
Yeah, thanks, Ahmad. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining. I know most of you, but not all of you. I've missed the last couple of meetings. So as Ahmad said, I'm actually, it's a new title, Executive Director of Research, Integrity, Compliance, and Ethics, or something like that. Anyway, I thought it made some sense. And even though I know that this group has talked about this over the past couple of meetings, that NSF, because NSF has come out with basically a chart, if you will, that would allow us to kind of focus on what should go into other impending categories, biosketch and the like, that I just addressed you folks just to make sure you're aware of that. But also probably, I would say probably more important for this call is understand, and again, I know most of you know this, but when it comes to this whole area of, I guess what we're calling foreign influence, right? That term wasn't around for years. In the last couple of years, that's what everybody now is calling it. And I can tell you, it's not going away. The federal government, NSF, NIH particularly, are continuing to evaluate these areas fairly aggressively. But the important thing I want to convey, and again, it's probably not going to shock you, or you probably know this, but it's more of a reminder, is basically I call this, it's a three prongs, three general prongs. I don't want to say three-headed monster, but I'm going to say three-headed monster when it comes to this area. So while we have this new NSF guidance, which I can put on the screen here in a second, that's not the end all and save all and so on. There are 3 different kind of regulatory processes or policy processes that are required of our NSF researchers and NIH for that matter, particularly. But the first is, as you know, the outside activities, that OATS reporting, right? Where faculty, not just researchers actually in OATS case, all faculty doing certain outside activities need to log that into OATS. And that's an internal process, but that is required. The second area is separate and apart from OATS is the conflict of interest reporting, which does relate to research activities. So NSF, you're required to file, all researchers who have involvement in the research have to file what we're calling, as you know, the Form 800. If it's NIH, there's an NIH form and so on. Private industry is the 700U when the private industry is the sponsor. The rules there and the requirements for disclosure are not necessarily the same as OATS. When you comply with OATS, and this is, I'm hearing this, and again, I'm bringing this to you, not because I think any of you are confused by this, but I've heard this, I continue to hear this from faculty. Oh, I thought when I put it in OATS, I satisfied this rule. And the answer is no. Unfortunately, I wish we had a system that would allow that kind of a single portal. But can you hear me okay? It looks like, Ahmad, you're frozen on my screen, but is that me?
No, I can hear you.
Okay. I just saw Ahmad. Yeah, okay. All right. And then the third area, third kind of prong is what is this NSF guidance document that, let me see if I can really quickly share my screen, see if this works. Again, I don't want to take too much time because I know everybody is on this call, at least just talked about it. So how do I, oh, here we go, share screen. Here we go. Okay. That was my daughter and grandkid, if you saw that. So this is the document that you may have already seen, just came out last week, that was issued by NSF, which is kind of a grid or a table, which was designed to help NSF researchers determine what needs to be included. And you can see in the top, depending on the nature of the activity, either on their biosketch, current pending support, updated, project reports and the like. So this is the type of activity here. And then this is where NSF says, if this is happening, it should be listed on the biosketch, for example. And so it's 2 pages. It's that page, and then here's the second page. And I guess going back to my main point, I don't think we have time. We can schedule for a different day, and I'm happy to come out and talk to your faculty directly at faculty meetings and the like to go through these specific categories. My group, my research compliance group, we're still trying to digest this and determine if it makes sense and if we need to get clarification and that kind of thing. But here's an example I was talking about. See, it says honoraria here, which often includes an honoraria is money. So if an NSF faculty member at a institution, foreign or otherwise, is receiving an honoraria, meaning money above a certain threshold, according to NSF, that's not required to be disclosed on any of the NSF paperwork. However, depending on the threshold and depending on the nature of the work being done as part of the honoraria, you may have to put this down either in OATS, but in this case, more importantly, on your COI disclosure. Same thing here. See, it says startup company based on IP generated here at UC Davis. Well, they say you don't have to disclose it to NSF, but if you have a startup company, regardless of what IP is being pursued as part of that startup company, you likely would have to disclose that both on your OATS form, as far as getting permission to do a startup company, as well as your COI form. So I guess my main point here, and then I'll stop talking on this information, is feel free to reach out to me or my staff to get more information on this, but don't use this as, okay, I don't have to do anything when I see, the checkbox over here, disclosure not required. And I do think that's, again, maybe I'm sounding like it's overkill, but what I can tell you, and I used to be a defense lawyer, white collar criminal defense lawyer, is that what we have seen, and this is not to scare you, but there have been criminal prosecutions. Ahmad's aware of it, Grace and Kelly and others, criminal prosecutions of faculty members researchers who have failed to list certain outside activities on their internal outside reporting form, OATS, not this right here, but OATS, internal. It goes to the university, doesn't even go to the government. But what the government basically, the way they do this to get, in order to make it a criminal case, is if they use the, if you fill your form out online, for example, and you hit submit to your university, and it's what government would call fraudulent, that's wire fraud. Doesn't matter that it didn't go to the government. So anyway, point is 3 different requirements, and they're not all lined up. I can already tell you that just by what I said. So anyway, I'm going to stop now. Again, not to, I think this is good that they came out with this. Feel free again to contact me or Ahmad, and he can send you to me. And again, I'm more than happy to continue this presentation to, you know, the specific, our specific researchers, if it makes sense for you. So there you go. Any questions? No questions. Good. I was clear as mud.
Craig, I see questions in the chat. The question has to do with, would you be able to put this information in some sort of email that we can share with the departments? So if we have something in writing to talk about, you know, these issues in general, we can put it on the listserv so they can share it with the faculty members.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. And again, I think what would be in that email, here it is by Diane, Diane, is again attaching this, not so much explaining the details of this form, because I'm not NSF and some of this is not completely obvious to me, but the most important part is this is just one piece of the requirement. Yeah, it would be great. Yeah, no, that's a good idea. I wonder if we could do that. That may be more of a challenge than you think in order to take their chart and expand it to include OATS and COI. That would be a challenge, but let me give it some thought. That I like that idea. They do connect. See, so let me get out of the chat here. See how, okay, if I'm still sharing, right? Or did I stop sharing? Maybe I stopped sharing, I forget.
No, you are sharing.
I'm still sharing, okay, okay. So for example, consulting that is permitted by an individual's appointment and consistent with the proposing organization, UC Davis, outside activities, policy, and procedure. So if you're doing outside consulting, no question that has to go through OATS. As long as it goes through OATS, they're saying disclosure not required to NSF, which I think is good. But then it says consulting that falls outside of an individual's appointment. I don't know what that means, because any consulting that falls outside an individual's appointment would have to go into OATS. I'm not sure what that means. Now, for example, maybe you're doing consulting, you're an entomologist and you're doing consulting to, sometimes I use an example of you're a chef and building, you're consulting with the company to make a new cutting board. Well, right, that wouldn't have to go into OATS because it's not related to your expertise. So I don't know if that's what that means, but you certainly wouldn't have to put that down and tell NSF that. So it's still a bit confusing to me what this means. Consulting that falls outside of an individual's appointment. Right, Ahmad, if you have thoughts on this, I can't think of an instance where they wouldn't also have to put that on their outside activity form. So I don't know. Yeah, again, there's some questions I have already looking at this, but. Entity travel support paid by an entity externally to attend a conference or workshop. There's another one that may require COI disclosure. Maybe not on your OATS, but they say you don't have to give it disclosure. But if you get paid by an external entity to attend a conference and it's over a certain amount, let's say NIH is 5,000, NSF is 10,000, you would have to put it on your COI disclosure. So so going back to the chat question, let me think about how we can come up with something more comprehensive that hits all three. The challenge is because COI particularly has so many thresholds, depending on the nature of the activity, it may be a little kind of difficult to do, but I'll look at it. Yeah, that's a good idea. We'll give it a look.
And there's a comment from Chris in the comment for everybody that reminds us that the new proposal and award policies of NSF is going to become effective October 4th. You know that frequently they update these, and this table is going to be a part of that too.
Yeah. And then, but that same email says, but we invite you to start using this immediately, right? From the,
yeah,
this
is the same as, again, for those of you who were present in the previous forums. We talked about the updated information that NSF absolutely wants to see in current and pending and the biological schedules, bio schedules. And one of the requirements, for example, was if there is a relationship outside the country, the agreement, they want a copy of that agreement, and if it is not English, they want translation and so on and so forth. So they made the effective date of that requirement next January, but they are encouraging everybody to start following those. And the same thing here. Even though they are saying that it will become effective a little bit down the road, they are saying start practicing it now. And they might ask it in the just in time. They might even ask that some of these things that are not still required, they might ask for them. So we have to be prepared to give it.
Yeah, no, okay, good. That's a good point. I would say, well, I can't tell you what to do, but I would say if, like Ahmad said, I've been to conferences too where they say, yeah, we would like to actually see the actual contract between you and the foreign entity and that kind of thing, and have it translated if it's in a different language. I wouldn't routinely send that as part of this now. My recommendation is if you're asked for it, then I actually would come to me or come to Ahmad and let's select through it, because there may be provisions in there that we may want to explain going into it, so we don't go down this rabbit hole of having to send emails and discussions and the whole thing. So if they're asking for paperwork, I would urge you to contact me and we can talk about how we approach that.
Great. Any other questions for Craig? And regarding these issues of agreements with outside entities and all of that, from the experience we have here and relations that we see people have, hopefully it's not going to be a huge percentage of the faculty members who would become subject to that. But we definitely do have faculty members that who have to fulfill those requirements, and they do have relationships outside the country. So we'll see what happens. But as
just to end that out, so we have faculty, not many, but some faculty that are in what do they call it, the 1,000 Talents, one or more different kind of 1,000 Talents programs. Most of that comes out of China. In and of itself, even to this day, put aside Department of Defense, let's carve them out for now. But when it comes to NSF, even to this day, there's nothing that says our faculty can't do that. Now, that's not something that UC Davis gets involved in. That is a genuine outside activity, which some people would say is complementary of your skills. I would say that. But the important thing in all this is disclose it, because NSF is going to say, well, you didn't disclose it, so you're trying to hide something. So what they want to know is, are you doing research under that contract? Are you getting support under that contract that may overlap with what you're getting from us as NSF? In other words, is there double dipping going on, kind of thing? So the point is, NSF is not saying that can't be done. They just want it disclosed. Yep.
Okay. Thank you very much. I don't see any more questions for you, Craig. So
okay.
I guess
it takes so much time.
Thank you. If you stop sharing your screen, we can do other things.
Okay, there we go.
Thank you.
Sure.
So let's see. We do have other updates for you, and typically James he gets a lot of questions, so I usually have him at the end. But there are some updates on indirect costs and because of that, I would like him to give us some updates on that. Before he starts talking, you know that some of you, at least, you have heard from our analysts that we do have new rates now going forward, and James will give us more information. But on our website, where you see the rates, we do have the updated rates. We don't have a copy of the agreement on our website yet, but we do have the rates. In a summary form, the rates we have right now, they would be in effect to the end of next June of 2022. All of the rates are going to be the same till then, but starting July of 2022, the numbers are going to go up. The rate, which is right now 57%, on July 1st, 2022 would go to 59.5. The following year, it would go to 60. The year after that, 61. And all of that information, and some other rates are going to increase too. That information is on our website right now. So if a proposal is going out of the office today that would cover any of those years, we are asking you to put a new rate in there. And if you don't do it, when the award comes in, it would be subject to those rates. So you really have to do that. With that, James.
Ahmed, someone has a hand raised.
Okay, so.
Sin Anderson.
Okay, Cynthia.
Hi, how are you? Good morning.
Good morning.
So I submitted a proposal to DOE in November, and we received notice that it's been funded for a September 15th start date.
Mm-hmm.
So last Thursday, I got a request for just-in-time information, which included a revised budget. And, you know, DOE is total cost, not a modified total direct cost. And so I worked up a new budget and I submitted it to be routed. And the analyst informed me that I needed to use the new rates for all 3 years. Well, for years 2 and 3. And so historically, we used the rates at the time the proposal was submitted. I would have been using all the 57% for all 3 years. Can you advise on that?
Yeah,
because
that's a very good question, and the rules there are extremely complicated. And I know that each time we have gone through going from one set of agreement rates to another set, this issue always comes up. I'm going to, I have to pull my notes out and look at them to see how exactly it works, because again, it's a complicated issue. And that has to do with, generally speaking, there is a distinction between when the start date of the project is, as well as when the proposal was sent in. So we do have a 3-column table which goes through all of these scenarios. And Cynthia, you might remember in the past, we used to put examples on the website that would go through all of those scenarios, including when the proposal was submitted, when the award date is, and if the award date is, let's say, June 30th versus July 1st, it makes a huge difference regardless of when the proposal was submitted. But let me not answer the question exactly. I want to look at the specific project to see what it is and look at our history. Based on that, we would give you an answer. But generally speaking, the way the rules were, if at the time that we were receiving the notice of the award, still the new agreement was not effective. See, there are lots of ifs that I am putting in there.
correct.
If the award start date is before the effective date of the new agreement, the F&A agreement, which I don't have that effective date yet.
Correct.
So if your start date is, let's say, today, and the effective date of that agreement is tomorrow, the answer is different from if the effective rate of the same award, which becomes effective today, the agreement date was yesterday. There is a huge difference between the answer to those questions. Now, when it comes down the road, though, to the point that what would happen if the award has lower indirect, but based on those rules, university is entitled to recover full rate, the answer to that question is relatively easy. University is going to recover the full rate, and the award has to absorb it, even if it doesn't have it. So in other words, the government would issue the award in one of those scenarios that I told you, would issue the award using the rates that they were in effect when the proposal was sent in, but university can recover F&A of the rates of the new agreement. So again, the answer is extremely situation dependent.
Okay.
So I have to look at the whole thing and be able to answer you, and we would work with obviously James for specific answers. So let's put that on hold. I'll talk to our proposal people to look at your specific situation, and we'll give you the answer.
Okay. Thank you for your time.
No problem. But again, you came up with a question, which is a very difficult question to answer. And we all know that. And in the past, every time we went, I have gone through these systems, 4 or 5 times at least over the years. There are situations that some departments, PIs, would not be happy with the end result, but that's how the government runs these things. We'll come back to you. James, do you want to go through your presentation? And just whatever you want to talk about the new rates.
Good morning, everyone. I was telling Craig, I enjoyed your background. I just spent a few days in Southern California on the coast, getting away, trying to bring my stress level down, and it was coming down. And here I am this morning, and wow, it's funny how fast that stress level just starts ratcheting right back up as all of these topics and issues start percolating around. So, Ahmad, I think you said pretty much everything I was planning to hit on. What I saw a question.
That's not my fault. That was Cynthia who made me say all of that.
Well, that all works out. I saw a question in the chat about when we will have an official dated rate agreement. So just so everyone knows, let me just share my screen, because what's a little frustrating is, this whole thing, has been going on for quite a long time. But we actually had a rate agreement dated June 8. Unfortunately, it came over with a bunch of errors, mostly in the composite benefit section. So we had to send it back. So that went back a week, or what is today, the 26th, a little more than a week ago, with the expectation that they were going to be able to just turn it around real quick. But we're still waiting for them to, pull their typewriter back out and freshen this up. Or freshen the whole thing up again so that we can get an official signed copy. But like you were mentioning, Ahmad, we have out through June of 22, we'll be at 57%. And are y'all seeing the rate agreement on the screen?
Yes.
Okay. It doesn't have that blue bar around the screen like it does. And then I think you mentioned, we'll be bumping up to 59.5, up to 60, up to 61 on the full organized research rate. And like you said, you've already posted this information on your website. We'll be updating our table. We will post the official rate agreements as soon as we get it in, get it signed and everything. But we're going to go ahead and post the rates so that folks will have visibility to what those different rates are going to be. I think that combined with what, well, really, again, what you said and what I was sitting here and have been thinking is, you know, it's time to go back and really review the processes we used last time. We actually moved from one rate agreement to another rate agreement. It's been a number of years now, and the rules, you're right, are a little bit, it's a little bit complex to step through. So I'll be refreshing my understanding of how all of those are going to come into play. And then we'll try to get, I think it'd be a good idea if we set up one of those, you know, various scenarios like we've had in the past that says, you know, if you're in this situation, here's what's going to happen with that agreement.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all I really had to say on the F&A side. I don't know if there are any questions coming in. I see a couple of chats. Yeah, well, the CBR rates, we actually will be posting. We have the rates, we know what they're going to be, so we'll be posting those, I'm going to say this week. And then again, it'll come in officially, you know, signed on this rate agreement, even down at the bottom of the rate agreement. Oops, well, I went a little too far at the bottom, but you know, the rates are, the CBR rates are in this, and that's why we get updated rate agreements every year as they keep updating the benefits. So CBRs, single audit should be available soon. Yes, that's done by UCOP.
I thought that came out. Didn't it come out?
I kind of thought it did too, but
yes,
I don't know. I don't. Maybe they. I can take a quick look while someone else is doing their presentation and see if it is sitting out there, just to confirm that. Okay, so that was the F&A. Just a couple of other things from contracts and grants accounting. Okay, somebody confirmed that the single audit has been posted. Okay. We have, I have the pleasure of announcing that we are adding our third fund management supervisor. So along with Tammy and Lenora, we are welcoming Jennifer Scales to join the fund management group as our third supervisor on July 12th. So we'll be reconfiguring the fund management teams a little bit, and we'll have an updated org chart out there, well, by mid-July. We do have a few other positions that we're still working on with, you know, hopefully we'll be able to fill those positions in the next month or so that we're hopefully coming up to full strength here to get us through fiscal close, I guess. So fiscal close, just the final little thing for me to throw out. We did send out the list of subaward agreements that you have with balances over 10K, so that you may use that information to perhaps follow up with the sub and get an invoice in, get that processed. Please remember, you should not do your accruals until the June final ledger opens. Don't put those on the preliminary ledger, please. And I think that's about all I was going to share. I don't see any chat questions. Okay. All right. Thank you all. If any questions you might have to come up later, feel free to email me or give me a call.
Thank you. Could you stop sharing, please?
Yep, you bet.
Thank you very much. Let's see. How about we go back now to updates from sponsored programs. Kelly, on the proposal side, please.
Sure. Good morning, everybody. As you've heard, that we now have new F&A rates that are effective in fiscal year 23. We were going to tell you, please ensure that all new proposals utilize those rates, but we've kind of talked about that. But I want to let everybody know the budget templates have been updated in accordance with the new rate agreement. So if you have the template saved to your computer, please be sure to update your records with the newest versions. Also note that the default rates in Cayuse 424 have been updated, and a request has been made with Cayuse to update the rates that are listed in SP. We expect that those rates in SP will be updated in the next day or so. So if you enter something today, you may need to manually adjust those rates. Some other things to note about the F&A rate changes. When you're using our budget templates, you can click on the F&A details tab at the very bottom of the spreadsheet to see the actual breakdown of the F&A rate by the project period. And when drafting your budget justification, for now, you can simply state that the F&A rates are based on our federally negotiated rates expected to be in effect during the project period. There's no need to list the actual rate agreement date right now since the final agreement hasn't yet been posted. But once that agreement is posted, please be sure to use the date that's listed on that agreement. And then my final update is that a revised version of NSF's Proposal and Award Policies and Procedures Guide, also known as the PA-PPG, has been issued and is effective for proposals submitted or due on or after October 4th of 2021. Some of the significant changes include a new section covering requests for reasonable and accessibility accommodations regarding the proposal process, or requests for accessibility accommodations to access NSF's electronic systems, websites, and other digital content. They've included the table that Craig shared previously regarding biographical sketches and current and pending support. And you can start using that now. And it was created to assist individuals with awareness of the various requirements for pre and post award disclosure information. I provided a link to that table earlier in the chat box for everybody. The new PA-PPG also increases the page limit for biographical sketches from 2 to 3 pages. And it also updates the current and pending support section to require that information on objectives and overlap with other projects is provided to help NSF reviewers assess any overlap or duplication. That is all I've got for today. If anybody has any questions, please let me know.
Okay, let's see. I don't see any questions for you in the chat, but yeah, there's questions regarding the new budget form, which I think Elisa is answering or somebody's answering. Okay, any other questions for Kelly on the proposal side? I don't see any. So how about Grace on the award side?
Good morning, everybody. All right, so when we get more clarification on the F&A rate, we will let you know what the plan is for awards. But right now, there are too many things unknown. So probably at the next forum, people will have some questions about that. But hopefully, we will send out clarifications before the next forum in July. The only thing I have to say is, as of July 1st, the awards team will be down 3 analysts. So expect your awards to take a little bit longer in the month of July. We are recruiting right now, but being down people will definitely affect our ability to review and process awards. Okay, so if things are taking a little bit longer, you'll know why. If you have questions, you can always email me and I'll try to follow up as fast as possible. Okay, that's all I have for today. But I'll take any questions you guys might have about awards. All right, thanks.
I don't see any questions. So any questions regarding anything that we would be able to answer? Hopefully. No? I guess we are going to have another short meeting if there are no questions. There's a question. It says, is SPO closed on Monday? Monday is a university holiday. So the answer to that is absolutely yes. So it's going to be a long weekend. And if there is proposal due on Monday, you want to have it, I don't know, that's not a federal holiday. So if there is a deadline on Monday, the sponsor is going to enforce Monday deadline. To meet it, you have to finish it here on Friday. There won't be anybody working over the weekend or on Monday. Any other questions? No? Any other updates anybody wants to share? I guess not. So the campus is getting ready for the next steps of maybe, I mean, the opening the campus, obviously, we all know about that. So we are all going through that process, and we don't have any updates really at this point. Things are as they have been in the last several months, but as the campus is opening up, we expect some of what we are doing might change too. Okay, if there's nothing else, we can stop and we can meet in July. Right now, we are almost a week to the end of the year. This year, thanks to all of the researchers and what's going on campus, we most probably are going to have another record year as far as the award goes. Last year was the record year with $941 million. And all indications are that this year we might go over that number. So let's keep our fingers crossed, and we will meet again in July. Thank you for joining. Have a great day.